Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima, and I'm here checking out Double Dragon 4. Bit of an odd one to get a review copy for, but I asked for one and I got it, so I figured why the hell not take a look at it, huh? So, Double Dragon 4 is a NES-styled sequel to the old Double Dragon beat-em-ups, and by NES I do mean very NES. There isn't much to see. You do have the ability to look at the controls here, and you can rebind them by going to config. So you can rebind them to any buttons you want, which is nice. Hang on, I've messed up my binding here. Square, okay, there we go. Now, there are 3 main modes. You can do 2-player fights, but with the way this game's combat system works, I wouldn't recommend that. You do have a story mode, which is 12 straight missions, I've heard. And there is a tower mode, which is a sort of like AI brawl thing going on, but I haven't unlocked it because I haven't gone to the end of the story. Because I thought for a while, I think I've been playing this for about an hour and a half, 2 hours at this point. I thought for a while you had to do the game in one straight shot. However, there is a secret. If you hit options on the story, you can skip to basically part of the mission you've completed. You have to complete a mission and the mission after it, and then you unlock that mission for the quick start. So, to unlock mission 4, you have to beat mission 4 and 5 in order to get its mission available for this little quick scroll thing here. So we'll just hit OK for mission 4. You can play as Billy or Jimmy. And of course you can do 2-player. So we'll just head straight on in. There's cutscenes. I'm pretty sure it's a sequel to some of the story they had going in Double Dragons 1 through 3, possibly. I have to admit, this is the first Double Dragon I've played seriously. I have played Double Dragon Advance all the way. Well, I remember playing it like years ago, but I don't have much memory of it, so yeah, it's not going to help me out very much. So this is Double Dragon. It is very NES-y. Like, the first thing you notice about this game when you first pick it up and play it is that it really is very NES-y indeed. It's got NES level graphics, although this is a little bit closer to the SNES than it is the NES. It's got NES level sound effects, and there is an option to turn the music to NES quality music, but it sounds horrifically bad. Like, it doesn't sound great right now, but it sounds even worse when you're playing with the NES level quality music. It's dumb. It's like really dumb just how badly they managed to screw it up. Like, it doesn't even sound like it came from the NES. It sounds like something that had a lot more options with it. Like, why didn't they just use FamiTracker? Is what I want to know. Like, FamiTracker, in case you don't know, I wouldn't blame you if you don't. It's a software that's used for actually composing music. Turn around, please. It's used for composing music on the NES sound chip, or at the very least an extremely close approximation of it. So why they wouldn't have just made music in FamiTracker, I don't know. But yeah, they did make some modern music, and it sounds terrible, honestly. It just sounds really, really bad. So, you've got the basic punch and kick move, and you've also got a jump. The jump is not very useful, though. And you have the ability to press punch and kick when you land on the ground, and you will do special moves. You can also do like weird combinations of buttons to do other moves, but that's what the extra buttons are for. Like if I hit L1, I do with the headbutt. If I hit R1, these are just the buttons I bound. They're unbound by default. You have to actively go bind them. But yeah, if I hit in my custom binds L1 and R1, I can do specific things. However, I mapped the behind me hit to the circle button because it is the most useful move in the game. Because it hits faster than anything else you've got, and it hits more consistently than anything else you've got because the hitbox for it, for no discernible reason, is absolutely enormous. So you can just spam away the hit backwards button, and you can beat any enemy in the game if they're by themselves. Sure, you can beat them via their usual moves and try and dodge them, but still, it is entirely more effective to just spam the back elbow and just win that way. entirely more effective. It's dumb. Mainly because of the way the AI tends to act, because the AI in this game are absolute jerks. They will surround you and just start beating the ever-loving bejesus out of you without warning. So once they've done that, you're kind of screwed, because the way the invincibility frames in this game work is that they last for very little amounts of time. To the point where if you're up and standing for like less than like a quarter of a second, your invincibility frames will wear off. This is working against you every time there's more than one guy around you, because they are more than capable of just spamming punches in your general direction while you're getting up and while you can't respond. You can press square and triangle while you're down in order to do like an uppercut on wake up, right? And you are invincible for a little bit, but nowhere near as long as you really need to be, purely because I've been hit mid rising uppercut. Like, see, I just got hit right there, right in the middle of the attack from someone who got behind me. You can only attack in one direction while you're getting up. And if you're surrounded by two people who are more than happy to just spam moves at you, you're not gonna be able to hit both of them at once. You're gonna get hit again and you're gonna go down. And this isn't if the AI doesn't decide to just go absolutely fucking nuts and just spam projectiles in your direction, which I've had them do. Like, I've had a guy spam something like 20 projectiles half a second after each other, just constantly, and it literally cost me a full life just because every time I'd get back up, before I could move, or even when I would try and do my special attack, the iframes would wear off, the next projectile would hit me, I'd get knocked on my ass. Repeat ad nauseum until I'd lost a life, and I had invulnerability frames long enough to actually get out of the fucking way, because the AI just had a goddamn stroke. I'd be laughing if it wasn't such a pain in the ass thing to deal with. Especially when you've got enemies like that who can hit you from out of range of any of your particular special moves. Also, it's entirely hard just to move out of the way. It's horrible. It really is. Just this combination of iframe abuse by the enemy is just stupidly unfair. I honestly don't have any other description for it. It's honestly one of the most frustrating things I've ever played. Like, I even played the original Double Dragon, and while it was kind of like that, the AI wasn't anywhere near as just unbelievably just spammy about it. Like, I went and picked up the original Double Dragon on the NES for like 15 minutes, and it was a fuck ton harder, but at the same time, it was a fuck ton fairer. This game just feels the need to spam you with absolutely stupid amounts of crap. I don't even know what these are. These grenades? Oh, well, this is a pipe. Weapons are pretty useless too, just because of how much you tend to get hit. You do have that special move, but again, anywhere that you would actually be able to be capable of using that spinny kick move in the air, which is basically the Tatsumaki, Ryu's Tatsumaki, or Ken's Tatsumaki. Anytime you have an opportunity to use it, you'll just get knocked flat on your ass out of the air anyway, so there's really no point to it. Also I've noticed is that the enemy damage is really inconsistent, and it just ticks me off. Like, you'll get a little bit of a chop in the back from that guy, and it might take off a single box, it might not. Meanwhile, you've got that guy in yellow that I fought like a stage or two ago. He'll do a dive bomb at you, and you'll take 3 blocks worth of damage. Bloody dumb. All the sound effects sound absolutely terrible too. They clearly were going for a sort of like nostalgic kickback, but oh god, they're just great. After 10 to 15 minutes, you've just had enough. It just sounds like noise coming out of a speaker. It doesn't sound like anything at all. It's really bad. Here comes one of my favorite parts of this stage, the ambush corner, where the AI will stack itself around it, and no matter what you do, as soon as you come up to the top of this ladder, you're gonna get hit. See? That happens every single time on this ladder. There are other ladders like this, but the AI is just nowhere near as attack spammy, so it doesn't do it on other ladders, but that ladder is guaranteed to get you a hit every time. and it's retarded. The game also has some performance problems. Bye-bye. He just threw himself off the edge, and here comes the next guy. The game also has some performance problems. There's some massive screen tearing where you can constantly see the tear of the screen as it can't refresh the entire screen in one go properly, going down the screen pretty much any time the screen is scrolling. And a game this simple? Really? Like, I could understand it if it was like a multi-million-dollar project that was like full-on 3D and just had absolutely fantastic graphics, but this is Double Dragon 4. It looks like shit at the best of times. I do not understand what they were going for here, but it looks terrible. It looks terrible, and it tears terribly, and it's just bad. I don't even know how they managed to do it. I thought the PS4 was better than this. I'm playing on an original PS4 right now, just to tell you that. And the original PlayStation 4 could render Spelunky in 4K without skipping a beat. Yes, this is the regular PlayStation 4 I'm talking about. It can render Spelunky in 4K, and it actually does. Like, that's what it does. It renders it internally at 4K, and then just downscales it to 1920 by 1080, which is 1080p. And this is the sort of machine that apparently can't handle Double Dragon 4. Who would have fucking thought? Huh? So yeah, I've been hit by these guys every single time I've gotten close. Apparently that time I just got lucky. But yeah, you get an uppercut now. I'll just spam that kick and send him flying over the edge. It's a nice little effect there. Nothing particularly grand, but nothing horrible either. Oh yes, this room. This room's great because they just gang up on you. You can't really do that much about it. Except, like, just spam the back fist as much as humanly possible and just, yeah, hope you don't get grabbed like that. Honestly, it plays like someone, like... Let's just compare Double Dragon 4 to Shovel Knight for a second. Shovel Knight plays like everyone who ever played those sorts of platformers were like, I know why this was engaging, but I know what was also bullcrap. They stripped away the absolute majority of the bullcrap and ended up with something completely magical, like a real labor of love. A real labor of love. They ended up with a real labor of love by doing things that way. This game doesn't feel like that in the slightest. It feels like someone who played the original Double Dragons played it and were like, I want a game that's so close to these, but I also want it to be about 10 times as crappier. I played Double Dragon 1 on the net, well, not on the NES, like on a NES emulator, but the NES version of Double Dragon 1 for 15 minutes, and I had more fun with it than I did an hour and a half of Double Dragon 4. If that doesn't tell you something, I don't know what will. There are so many other better beat-em-ups out there, it's not even funny. I'll do one more stage. Or as they call it, mission. The story writing really isn't interesting. I didn't even know who those sisters were until like stage 5, so it's just weird. There is actually a part in this stage which is like a reference to Double Dragon 1. So I don't know if it's just meant to be a whole self-referential plot. But it doesn't work. It really doesn't. At least not for someone who hasn't played the original Double Dragons, at least. I mean, compare it to, like, World of Final Fantasy. World of Final Fantasy was at least approachable by someone who was relatively new to the entire universe, right? This game just... This game feels like it'd be hard to get into for even Double Dragon veterans, honestly. Don't know why the box just instantly jumped to that person there. Yep, here comes a projectile from off screen. Couldn't move out of the way in time. Yep, that's the guy. His AI will just go nuts and throw projectiles forever if it gets stuck. See, like, there's 2, there's 3. I've seen him throw, like, 30 in a row. It's dumb. In we go. I only just recently played Streets of Rage 2 for the first time. And after having played that, and, like, that was a game that came out a couple of years after the original Double Dragon, right? So, just saying that game is representative of what Double Dragon 4 should be is a bit, you know, misleading, right? But at the same time, even just a couple of years of improvement of the beat-em-up formula made such a better game in the form of Streets of Rage. So I really don't know what they were going for here, but it sure as hell isn't anywhere near as good as even Streets of Rage 2, let alone Double Dragon. I'd never even played Double Dragon Neon, but I mean, it's gotten better reviews than this. I went and looked up the reviews for this, and they got like, it's got like a 4 out of 10, a 5 out of 10, a 6 out of 10. Yeah, not great. And it was published by Arc System Works too. That's even weirder. Like, they got the developers of the original NES versions in and told them that they got to make a new Double Dragon, so make the most of it. And they made this pile. Yeah, my old favorite NES platformer trope. No control in the air while you're jumping that ends up with you doing stupid shit like that. Oh yeah, by the way, I have fun just taking out these guys in this tiny area. Hang on, I'll just back fist him. That was easy. This is the final area of the mission. These sound effects are just horrible. The enemy AI can actually get really badly stuck, like, on the edge of this conveyor belt here. And it'll just, like, flicker back and forth between its left and right movement sprites. Like, there it is. And you just barely saw it. And they died, because when they went off screen, the AI forgot to do anything and just fell off the edge. So yeah, that's it. I do not like it. I do not like it at all. There are beat-em-ups that are miles and miles and miles ahead of this one. Do not, under any circumstances, buy Double Dragon 4. It's like $6.99 or something cheap like that, but yeah, it's not even, excuse me, it's not even worth that. This has been Blue Maxima, and I'll see you all next time.